I knew something was wrong the moment I saw the look on my brother's face when he unwrapped the wedding gift I had spent months preparing. His eyebrows lifted just enough to show disappointment, and his wife, Sarah, didn't even bother hiding her smirk. They didn't say anything in front of the crowd, but they exchanged this tiny, ugly glance that told me exactly what they were thinking. Later that night, I overheard them in the hallway laughing about how cheap and unimpressive my gift was. That moment clawed at me for weeks, because I had poured my heart into that gift. But the real shock came days later, when a family member, someone who rarely speaks, finally told me the truth about what had been happening behind my back. And now I still can't decide if I'm wrong for how I reacted later, or if anyone in my place would have felt the same way. So tell me honestly, was I wrong for what I eventually did? Or were they the ones who pushed me too far? To explain why this cut so deeply, I need to go back a bit, because things between me, my brother and his wife, weren't always this messy. I grew up being incredibly close to my brother, whose name is Imran. He's older by 3 years, and when we were kids, he was the kind of big brother who saved me from bullies, shared his snacks, and sometimes even helped me finish my homework when I got overwhelmed. Our parents worked a lot, so many of my early memories include him taking charge, making sure I got home safely, and even teaching me how to ride a bicycle. I always looked up to him. Even when we became adults and life got busier, I always felt that we had this invisible bond, one of those sibling connections where even if you don't talk every day, you still feel like you're each other's team. But everything changed when he met Sarah. I'm not going to lie. At first, I genuinely liked her. She was bubbly, talked a lot, dressed well, and seemed overly excited about everything, the kind of person who fills the room instantly. She complimented my outfits, asked about my work, and even offered to help me plan my birthday one year. But slowly, those nice gestures turned calculated. I started noticing that she would behave wonderfully in front of others, especially in front of my parents, but when it was just the two of us, she became cold. Not rude exactly, but dismissive, like I didn't matter unless there was an audience. The real shift happened after she got engaged to my brother. Suddenly, she acted like she was above everyone. She talked about raising the family standards, and being the one who brings elegance into this house. She criticized little things, like my mother's decor style, my father's traditional habits, even the kind of clothes I wore. My brother always brushed it aside and said, "That's just how she is. Don't take it personally." And even though it bothered me, I tried. I tried really hard not to take it personally. But deep down, something in me knew that Sarah didn't like me. And maybe she never had. Still, when their wedding rolled around, I decided I wanted to give them something meaningful. Not something flashy or expensive, but something that would last. Something that would matter 10 years from now. I spent months working on a personalized memory box for them. A handcrafted wooden box engraved with their names and wedding date. Inside it I put small envelopes labeled with things like "Open when you're angry," "Open on your first anniversary," "Open when you achieve a dream," and so on. I filled each envelope with handwritten letters, memories, pieces of advice, and funny stories from our childhood. I even added a USB drive with a carefully edited video montage of old pictures, voice clips, and a message from my brother, telling him how proud I was and how happy I was for him. It wasn't expensive, but it was deeply personal. It took time, effort, and genuine emotion. But when they opened it at their gift opening dinner with close family, their reaction crushed me. Imran barely looked at me, he just gave a stiff smile, and Sarah didn't hide her disappointment at all. She said, "Oh, it's handmade?" in this tone that stung so sharply that I pretended not to hear the judgment underneath. She placed it aside so quickly like she didn't even want it on the table. I tried telling myself I was just being sensitive. Maybe I was overthinking, maybe they were just overwhelmed. But then I heard them later. I had gone upstairs to help my mom, but when I passed by the guest room I heard voices. Their voices, laughing. And I heard Sarah say, "God, can you believe she gave us that? What are we supposed to do with a wooden box? It's so childish." And my brother, the same brother who used to protect me, actually snorted and said, "Yeah, she still lives in her own world. She tries though. She tries," like I was some sad little child who made an ugly drawing. That sentence squeezed my chest so tightly I had to walk away before I started crying. I didn't confront them, I didn't say anything, I just swallowed it. I told myself, let it go, don't ruin their wedding with drama. But then something unexpected happened. A few days after the wedding, I was visiting my parents when my grandmother, who rarely speaks, rarely comments, and rarely involves herself in conflicts, sat next to me on the sofa. She has always been quiet, observant, and almost invisible in family conversations. She placed her hand on mine and said very softly, "Beta, don't let their words hurt you. I heard everything." I froze, my heart dropped. I didn't even know she had been there that night. She looked at me with the saddest expression and said, "Your gift was the only one made with love. Everyone else gave money or fancy sets, but you gave time. You gave memories. You gave your heart. And if they cannot see the value in that, it says more about their hearts than yours." Hearing that from her felt like someone finally cracked the shell I had wrapped around my emotions. I felt this huge wave of sadness, relief, and validation. But she wasn't done. She leaned closer and whispered, "They have been talking about you behind your back for months." That hit me like a punch. I stared at her, confused, and she continued, "At family gatherings, at dinners, Sarah makes comments. Your brother laughs along. They think no one notices, but I notice. I always notice." She told me things I never knew, things that made my stomach twist. Apparently, Sarah had been saying things like I was too emotional, too dramatic, too sensitive, not successful enough, not stylish enough, and not at their level. And worst of all, according to my grandmother, my brother would go along with it. Sometimes even add to it. I felt betrayed, not by Sarah, I had never trusted her completely, but by my brother. My own brother. All those childhood memories suddenly felt like lies. That night, when I went home, I cried for hours. I cried because I felt stupid for trying so hard to build a bond with someone who didn't want me. I cried because I missed the brother I used to know. I cried because I realized he saw me as an embarrassment. And that's when the story took the turn that brings us to the question I want to ask all of you. Around the midpoint of this whole disaster, I reached a moment where I had to make a decision. Should I confront them or stay silent? Should I protect my peace or defend my dignity? Before I continue and tell you what I did next, pause for a moment and think, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you confront your own sibling about mocking a heartfelt gift, or would you keep quiet to maintain peace in the family? Tell me what you think, because what came next changed my relationship with them forever. After days of thinking, replaying memories, and trying to calm my anger, I decided I needed to talk to my brother. Alone. Not in front of Sarah. Not in front of our parents, just him and me. So I invited him over one weekend. He came, assuming we were just going to hang out like normal. And for a few minutes I tried to act natural, but the words were burning inside me. Eventually I just said it. "I heard what you said about my wedding gift." I stared at him, genuinely stunned. "You mocked it too," I said quietly. He sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "I didn't mock it. I just said it wasn't really something we'd use." I felt something inside me crack. It wasn't meant to be useful. It was meant to be meaningful. He rolled his eyes, and said, "Yeah, but not everyone has time for sentimental stuff. You get emotional over everything." That hurt more than anything. I asked him, "Have you two been talking about me behind my back?" He hesitated, which told me everything. He said, "Look, sometimes Sarah makes comments. She doesn't mean anything by it." "And you?" I asked. "Do you make comments too?" He didn't answer. Instead he said, "I don't know why you're making this a big deal." I felt this deep, painful disappointment sink in. My brother, the one who used to defend me, was standing in my living room. I needed him to understand that words have consequences, and to my surprise, he actually respected that. Months passed. Things slowly improved, but not fully. Sarah still keeps her distance, which honestly is fine with me. My brother tries more now, calls more often, visits alone, asks how I'm doing. Maybe he realized what he almost lost. As for the gift, well, my grandmother told me something that made me strangely emotional. She said she saw Sarah trying to quietly take the box out of storage one day, probably because she knew the family had turned against her behavior. Maybe guilt, maybe embarrassment, maybe pressure, I don't know, but the box is displayed in their home now, not in a very visible place, but somewhere, and maybe that's the closest I'll ever get to peace with her. Where I stand today is simple. I love my brother. I always will. But I also love myself enough now to set boundaries. I won't allow myself to be mocked, belittled, or treated like I don't matter. If they don't value the emotional effort I put into relationships, that's on them, not me. And honestly, I'm grateful to my grandmother. She was the quiet voice that finally spoke when I couldn't. So that's my story. And if you've listened this far, tell me. Was I wrong for stepping back from them? Was I wrong for confronting my brother? Or was I finally doing the right thing for myself? If you were on my side, like this video. If you want more stories like this, subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments what you think about this whole mess, because trust me, I still wonder whether things will ever go back to how they used to be. I'll see you all in the next story.